Chapter 12. The Walkout. The first step was easy. That was cruel of it. Orren put his bare foot onto the outward path, felt stone under skin, and did not turn. Nothing tore from him. No chain snapped around his throat. No hand came from the dark to take Evara back. The house did not laugh. The gate did not breathe behind him. Volos did not call after them. Only his foot on stone. Then Evara's step behind him. Small, real, near. The sound entered him so sharply he almost stopped walking at once. Her footfall was lighter than his. Of course it was. She was careful even here. The path was narrow enough that the dark touched both walls, and still she placed her steps as if there were spilled water to avoid, or a sleeping child under a table, or a board in her father's house that would betray her if pressed wrong. Orren took another step. Evara followed. There, again, he breathed. The outward path did not look like the road in. There were no polished corridors, no record drawers, no blue fire seams, no black glass waiting to write him into guilt. The walls on either side were close and matte dark, not wet, not dry. They drank light from somewhere ahead and gave none back. The floor rose gently under his feet, then leveled, then dipped for 3 paces before he could decide whether it had changed. The air smelled of stone, old breath, and the faintest thread of rain. Rain, living rain, perhaps. Or the house, knowing what he wanted, and setting bait out with manners. He kept his eyes on the floor. 1 step, Evara's step. His breath, her breath. Do not look back. He had thought the term would sit before him like a wall. It did not. It sat behind his eyes. It lived in his neck, in the muscles that wanted to turn whenever the sound behind him shifted. It lived in his shoulder, where the body had already begun to prepare the movement before his mind forbade it. Do not look back. The words were too large. He made them smaller. Look at the floor. Step. Breathe. Listen. No, not listen too hard. Listening could become its own kind of looking. Behind him, Evara drew a breath. Orren's body answered before he could stop it. His shoulders rose. His right hand twitched, wanting hers. The path did not punish the twitch, but it noticed. He felt the noticing like cold air against the back of his neck. "I am here," Evara said. The path carried her voice strangely. It reached him clear and close, as if her mouth were beside his ear. His eyes closed. He should not close his eyes. He opened them at once. The floor had not changed. "I know," he said. The lie nearly choked him. Behind him, after a breath, Evara said, "Do not make that sound like a song." He almost laughed. It came out as a broken breath instead. "I won't. You already did a little." "I know." The old answer. Hers, usually. In his mouth now. It landed badly and gently at once. For 5 steps, the path was only a path. Stone, breath, footfall, the ache in his bare foot, the stiffness in his booted one, the raw place in his throat where every word scraped, blood drying under his nose, the bandage at his arm pulling when he lifted his shoulder too far. Evara behind him, close enough to hear. Then Orren spoke from somewhere to his left. No cleverness. Orren started and nearly turned toward the voice. Nearly. He caught himself with both hands against the wall. The stone under his palms was warm. He snatched them back. "Orren," Evara said behind him, and there was warning in it. "I am not in the path," Orren said. He sounded near and far at once, as if he spoke through a crack that moved while he used it. "I am beside the idea of the path. Terrible place. Poor view. I do not recommend visiting." Orren stared straight ahead. A dim greyness waited far down the corridor. It might have been the living threshold. It might have been a turn. It might have been another trick of the house. "What do you want?" Orren asked. "Want? Many things. Better timing, fewer gods, a chair I did not have to bargain with, Irene. The Roadwing's voice changed. It lost its edges. No cleverness, he said again. No counting loopholes. No song under your breath to make her steps fit yours. No bargain with the dark. No road if one opens where it should not. No speaking because silence bruises you. The last line struck. Orren's hands curled at his sides. I heard the terms. Yes, you and terms are newly acquainted. I worry the courtship is shallow. Evara said, let him walk. Irene went quiet. For a moment, Orren hated that she had defended him. For another, he loved her for it. Both feelings got in the way of walking. He stepped forward. Evara followed. Irene's voice came once more, softer now. Forward. That is the entire lesson. And I am sorry for how simple it is. The path narrowed. A black seam opened in the wall to Orren's left, no wider than a hand. Irene's voice vanished into it. Then the seam closed. Orren walked. Behind him, Evara did too. The first change came as sound. Her steps became harder to hear. At first, Orren thought the path had widened. It had not. The walls remained close enough that his sleeve brushed stone whenever he swayed, but the air had thickened between his ears and the space behind him. His own breathing grew loud, too loud. His pulse sat in his throat like a drum, badly covered. The scrape of his boot against stone came back to him twice, once from the floor and once from somewhere overhead. Evara's next step disappeared inside the echo. Orren stopped. The path did not react. He held still. Behind him, cloth moved. Good. Evara was there. He walked again. One step. No sound. Another. There. A faint scrape. Her foot. His echo. A drip from the ceiling. There was no ceiling he could see. The dark above him pressed low and high at once. He swallowed. Do not ask. He wanted to say, Are you there? The words rose fully formed, simple and harmless-looking. He bit them back. A call meant to compel her pace breaks the term. Was asking if she was there a call? Not if he only needed to know. Need was exactly the problem. He bit the inside of his cheek until blood came. Pain helped. For a while, the path turned left. Orren stopped before the bend. The turn hid everything ahead. He did not know why that mattered when he could not look behind. It did. The straight path had let him imagine one line, him, then Evara, then the house falling away. A turn made shape uncertain. Around it, sound might change. The path might double back. He might be walking toward her without knowing. He might see her by accident if the corridor curved sharply enough. He stood before the turn and hated geometry. Behind him, Evara's breathing sounded closer. You can turn left, she said. His eyes burned. Thank you. I am not mocking you. I know. You say that when you don't. He almost smiled. Then he took the turn. The corridor did not bring her into view. Good. Bad. His relief had teeth in it. The walls after the turn were different. Stone gave way to something smoother, paler, almost like bone rubbed flat by many hands. Thin, vertical marks lined both sides. Orren kept his eyes low. But the marks shifted at the edge of sight. They were not letters, or not only. They looked like tally marks, doorframes, ribs, trees in winter. One of them whispered as he passed. Orren held. He kept walking. Another whispered, Singer. Another, Sun. His step faltered. Behind him, Evara's footfall came one breath later. Still there. Forward. Another mark whispered, Killer. Orren stopped. Behind him, Evara stopped too. Not because he commanded her, because he stopped. That mattered, and did not help. The corridor waited. Orren, Evara said. His name in her voice nearly turned him. He closed his eyes, then opened them again on the pale wall ahead. I'm all right. No, she said. You're walking. It was so exactly her that a sob rose in him without warning. He held it down. "I'm walking," he said. "Then walk." He did. The marks continued, but stopped speaking. Or perhaps he stopped listening. The path sloped upward. The air cooled. A scent came through. Wet earth. Not stone. Not old breath. Earth. Living soil after rain. The kind of smell that had come from skeldrun fields on the rare mornings before failure was visible. He saw the lower field in his mind. Dead stalks. Evara's hand over his. Roots twisting free. He saw her father's house, beyond the fog. Whole then, before fire had opened it. He saw the door. He saw the belt on the peg, though he had never seen it there. He had imagined it so often that memory had begun to borrow the shape. Behind him, Evara inhaled. A small sound, not pain. Recognition. He wanted to ask what she smelled. If she smelled the field. If she smelled the house. If the house was being cruel to both of them, or merely efficient. He said nothing. The corridor opened into a low chamber. Orren stopped at its threshold. The chamber was round and empty, except for rain falling in the center. No ceiling, though there should have been one. No sky above either. The rain came from darkness and vanished before touching the floor. It hung in a narrow column. Silver and soft, each drop falling slowly enough that he could see its shape. The path continued on the other side. He would have to walk around the rain, not through it. The floor near the falling water shone like wet stone. Orren's stomach clenched. Water. Behind him, Evara said nothing. Of course she said nothing. The path allowed silence. The path, perhaps, preferred it. Orren moved to the right. His boot slipped slightly on the damp curve around the rain. He caught himself against the wall with his elbow, not his hand. The injured arm sparked pain. He used the pain. The rain made no sound. That was worse. Rain should strike. Roof, basin, field, skin. Rain should have somewhere to land. This fell and did not arrive. Halfway around, he heard water in his mouth again. Not here. There. The sea. His body breathing against him. Evara behind him. The pull ahead. He stopped. His throat closed. Behind him, Evara's step entered the chamber. Then another. He could hear her clearly here. The rain took away echoes. Her foot on the wet stone. Her breath. The slight catch when she reached the curve around the silent water. He wanted to turn more than he had ever wanted applause. More than Kamarath. More than bread. More than breath when the sea had him. He stared at the opposite doorway. Evara's steps slowed. Do not. He did not know whether he meant her or himself, or the house. A sound came from behind him. A stumble. Small. Real. His whole body lurched. Evara. The name left him before he could stop it. Not sung. Not command. Only fear. The chamber changed. The rain stopped falling. Every drop hung in the air. Orren froze. Behind him, Evara breathed in sharply. The suspended drops reflected tiny pieces of the room. In the nearest one, Orren saw a curved black wall. In another, a streak of blue fire that was not here. In another, a pale blur behind him. He shut his eyes. No. The drop trembled. The house listened. I am not calling her, Orren said, though he did not know whether speaking to the house helped or worsened it. I am not. Silence. Then Evara behind him, voice tight but steady. I slipped. I am standing. The rain fell, all at once. Sound crashed through the chamber. Orren flinched so hard he nearly fell. Water struck the floor, struck itself, struck the silence it had been holding. Then it was gone, vanished into stone, leaving only a damp circle and the smell of living rain. He opened his eyes. The path remained. No forfeit, no void. Evara still behind him. He had said her name. Had that been allowed? The house had not taken her. Not yet. He stepped through the far doorway before the question could swallow him. His hands shook. "Do not do that again," Evara said behind him. "I didn't mean—" "I know." That answer cut deeper, because it was true. He walked. The next corridor was longer, darker. The greyness ahead had grown brighter, or he had begun needing it more. It lay at the end of the path, like light under a door. Living world, air, rain that landed, pain that belonged to a body with blood still moving. If he reached it, and Evara followed, then they would stand beyond the house's jurisdiction, names and bodies fully crossed. He could turn then. He could see her, touch her, ask, answer, apologize, fall. Let her decide whether to catch him. If she followed, she would follow. She was walking. He could hear. No, he could not. The corridor swallowed sound again. Orren walked slower, too slow. Was slowing a kind of calling? If he slowed so she could keep near, was that altering her steps? If he hurried so the path ended sooner, was that abandoning her? If he matched the rhythm he thought he remembered, was that song? His thoughts twisted around the terms, until every breath looked guilty. Volos had chosen well. The realization came cold and unwelcome. The term was not only not looking, it was making every form of care suspect. Behind him nothing. He took another step. Nothing. Another. A faint breath? No. His own. Another. The corridor narrowed until his shoulders nearly touched both walls. He turned sideways to pass through a tight place, and immediately shut his eyes because sideways was almost back. His heart hammered. Stone scraped his wounded arm. He hissed. Behind him, cloth brushed the wall. There, he heard it. She was entering the narrow place. He stepped out of it and waited on the other side, facing forward. Waiting was allowed. Was it? He had not been told he must keep walking. Only not stray, not look, not call. Waiting was not straying, unless waiting became pressure, unless she heard him stop and felt required to hurry. Orren's hands clenched. Every mercy became a blade if he held it wrong. Behind him, Evara emerged from the narrow place. He knew because the air changed. Warmth at his back. Not much. Not body heat, perhaps. Something else. The mantle she wore? The house reacting to her? His imagination starving itself into sensation? He did not move. Evara stopped. They stood that way in the dark. 3 paces apart, perhaps less, both facing the same direction. Her breath came unevenly. He wanted to ask whether she was in pain. He wanted to say he was sorry. Not for one thing, for all of it. For the field, for the ship, for the water, for Malin, for making his grief so loud she had to stand inside it, for needing her answer too badly to hear it. Instead, he said, "I am going to walk." Safe. A statement about his own steps. Not a call, not a plea. Behind him, after a moment, Evara said, "Then walk." He did. The greyness ahead widened. Air touched his face. Cooler now. The corridor began to breathe with the living world. Not fully, not enough, but enough that his skin recognized it before his mind trusted it. Rain somewhere beyond. Soil. A far bird call. Wind in grass. Orren nearly sobbed. They were close. Behind him, Evara's steps came steady for 6 paces. He counted before he realized. Stopped counting. Still heard them. 1? No. A step. No number. Another. Then nothing. Orren kept walking. 1 step. No. His step. Another. No sound behind. The light ahead touched the floor now. Not blue, not black. Grey-white, thin as dawn under cloud. He could see the path ending perhaps 20 paces ahead. A threshold stood there. Not a door, only an arch of rough stone. Beyond it, rain fell in the living world. Real rain. He could hear it striking leaves. He stopped. No sound behind. The silence opened. Not like a room, like water. His hands went cold. He waited. No step. Evara had paused before. In the chamber, in the field, in the conversation. She paused to think, because she would not be dragged by another person's urgency. He knew this. He loved this. He had been warned. Silence is not absence. He took one step forward. The arch waited. The living world breathed through it. Behind him, nothing. His mind went to the sea. Not by choice. It had kept the map ready. Dark water. Song ahead. Evara behind. His body moving because stopping meant death. His certainty becoming sure. His listening deciding it was enough. His face never turning. He heard her name break in the storm. Had that happened? He did not know. He had not known then. He did not know now. His shoulders shook. No. He pressed both hands against his thighs until pain entered his fingers. Trust. The word sounded like someone else's language. Trust what? The path? The house? Valos? Evara? His own hearing, which had failed him? His own love, which had already found ways to dress fear as care? Trust without witness. He hated Valos. He hated him most because the term had found the place no song could warm. Behind him still nothing. Orren stood with the living world ahead, and Evara's silence opening behind him like water. He did not turn. Not yet.
Rain on the sill, salt in the flame. When the door goes quiet and the room lets go, lay the last word gently where the dark runs slow.
There is still a road under ash, under rain. There is still a voice trying not to break. Carry the song through the dark and the foam. Carry the name when the cold calls home. Leave one small light where the lost can remain. I will find you by listening. You will know me by name.
Rain on the sill,
Salt in the flame. The door goes quiet. Carry the name.